Good morning and welcome to The Edge and ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I'm Devonne Cornelius and thank you for joining me in the program for today. Good morning and good afternoon, good evening as well to those of you who are listening from other parts of the world. Thank you so much for joining me. This program is also being carried live on ZIZ TV, which is Channel 5. And you can also view this program via our social media handles. Check us out on our YouTube channel at ZIZ Online and via Facebook at ZIZ Broadcasting Corporation. You're listening to The Edge for Monday, August 12th, 2024. When we open the phone lines later, you may call us at 465-2555 or 718-577-2916. That is our overseas line. You can call and lend your voice to the conversation at hand. Staying up to date with the tropical storm, as of 8 a.m., a tropical storm warning is in effect for St. Kitts and Nevis. A tropical storm warning means that tropical storm conditions are expected within the next 36 hours. PTC number 5 is expected to slowly organize and become a tropical depression later today, and then a tropical storm by tomorrow as it approaches the island chain. Based on the current trajectory, the eventual storm should pass slightly to our south and possibly bring low-grade storm force winds tomorrow afternoon into the evening. Showers will increase through tomorrow and will be heavy at times, accompanied by thunderstorms. Seas will deteriorate and peak about 10 feet tomorrow into Wednesday. Residents are urged to closely monitor the progress of PTC number 5 and be ready to implement their disaster plans. This is the latest update regarding the tropical storm, and a tropical storm warning is in effect for St. Kitts and Nevis. You are encouraged to stay tuned to your local media, radio and otherwise, regarding updates on the tropical storm system. The government of St. Kitts and Nevis announced that all government offices on the island of St. Kitts will be closed tomorrow, Tuesday, as a result of the passage of the storm. The Nevis Island Administration is currently, at around 7 a.m., I believe this morning, was in conversation with the Nevis Disaster Management Department to discuss the impending storm, and an announcement, according to the Premier, will be made shortly, and I'll be paying attention to see when that announcement is made so I can share that information with you. But you are encouraged to stay tuned so that you get the latest updates as to what is happening with the storm. A meeting is also being held with the National Emergency Management Agency at their headquarters under the chairmanship of the acting Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley. And Prime Minister Dr. Terence Chu also participated in the meeting via Zoom. This meeting included relevant stakeholders, and they provided updates on their state of readiness in relation to the impending passage of the weather system. You're listening to The Edge and ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I'm Devonne Cornelius, and thank you for joining me. We'll take a very short break.
the Caribbean, we boast a diverse abundance of flora and fauna that adorn our countries. This diversity follows through to our people, communities, and families.
As a doctor, I treat my patients with respect and understanding, without stigma or discrimination, no matter their sexual orientation, practice, or belief. Remember, everybody deserves a fair treatment.
As a mother and healthcare professional, I believe all Caribbean children should be safe, happy, and healthy. Let us create a safe, supportive environment for all Caribbean children to thrive.
Let us treat our LGBTQ+ family members with love and respect. Strong families create a stronger Caribbean. This message is brought to you by the Eastern Caribbean Alliance for Diversity and Equality, ECADE.
This is my land, my island, our home. The climate has changed, it's becoming strange. We have to come together to keep her forever resilient and strong. We need some civilization for its rehabilitation. Come together as a nation for drought and flood mitigation. Development with policies and plans. Let's change our ways, protect our lands. Get involved, every child, woman and man. Island resilience has got the plan. This is my land, my island, our home. It's time to come together to keep her forever resilient and strong.
Island Resilience, promoting a climate of change. The Climate Change Adaptation and Sustainable Land Management Initiative of the OECS Commission, funded by the European Union.
From the heart of ZIZ Radio comes a political talk show like no other. The Edge, with host Devonne Cornelius giving you his take on the biggest stories happening in governance today. Got something to say? Let's hear it. Give us a call at 869-465-2555, Monday to Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 noon. One solid hour of in-depth analysis of the machinery that makes our country tick. The Edge, cutting into the matters at hand.
Hello and welcome back to the Edge in ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. Just a quick update from Premier Mark Brantley. He said they are being briefed now by disaster management officials and will make an announcement shortly as to whether government offices will be closed on Nevis tomorrow and any other update necessary for the impending storm. But as it relates to St. Kitts, government offices here on the island of St. Kitts will be closed tomorrow. You are encouraged to stay tuned to local media to get the latest update. A tropical storm watch is currently in effect. However, a tropical storm warning may become necessary, and that warning has since been issued. Leading moisture and instability ahead of a tropical storm disturbance will continue to generate cloudy periods and showers throughout today. However, the system comes closer to the area. Tropical storm conditions are likely by tonight into tomorrow. For today's weather, we can expect partly cloudy to cloudy skies with a moderate chance of showers. And for tonight, increasingly cloudy skies with showers and thunderstorms. As I mentioned before, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, they convened an emergency meeting with stakeholders to discuss their state of readiness. The meeting, it took place on Sunday, and it was led by National Disaster Coordinator Abdias Samuel, who provided Dr. Drew with an update on the status of the weather system. Samuel outlined the potential impact on the Federation and detailed the preparedness actions being implemented under the National Disaster Management Framework. These actions are designed to safeguard the population and minimize any disruptions that may arise from the system's development. Dr. Drew expressed his gratitude to all the attendees for their prompt response and dedication to prioritizing the preparedness and response activities for the impending storm or the impending weather threat. Also present at the meeting were the Acting Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, the Permanent Secretary of National Security, Glenroy Blanchett, and Chair of the National Emergency Management Agency, Clarissa Langley Stevens. Each of these officials reaffirmed their commitment to supporting the ongoing efforts to ensure the Federation's readiness in the face of this potential threat. The government urges all citizens and residents to stay informed through official channels and to follow the guidance provided by NEMA and other relevant authorities as the situation unfolds. You are encouraged to to get your disaster plans ready in the event they have to be activated. Let us not wait until the last minute to do a helter-skelter and say, oh my gosh, I should have put something in place for the impending weather threat or the impending storm. We know every year this is the hurricane season, and we ought not to be caught off guard by this storm or this weather threat that is coming here. We need to be prepared, and both businesses and private households need to be prepared. Whatever preparation, you need to do some sort of preparation. If you're not sure what to do, NEMA is very accessible. You can always call NEMA to find out what a disaster plan should look like, what a disaster preparedness plan should look like, and the necessities in terms of what you need for the storm and all of these things. But we need not to be waiting to the last minute to say, well, we have to get this in place and get that in place. These are discussions that should have happened way before, because again, we know that the storm is coming and we ought to be prepared. But I've seen a level of complacency, especially here in St. Kitts and Nevis, because I guess it's due to the fact that we've not really been impacted much by hurricanes over the years. Yes, we've received some sort of impact, but it has not been significant. And so there is this level of complacency where we're like, well, nothing is going to happen, nothing major is going to happen. And so unfortunately, people don't really go out of their way to ensure that they are prepared and all of these things. Just to notice that the St. Kitts Electricity Company Limited, SCELEC, they will be closing their offices due to the passage of the tropical cyclone Ernesto. During this period of closure, bill payments can be made online, and you can do so at www.ebis.skelec.kn or through the St. Kitts Nevis Angola National Bank, Republic Bank, or First Caribbean Bank portals. Customers can also drop off checks at their check drop box at their main office. And they will be closed today, and they are expected to reopen on Wednesday, August 14th. If you are looking for more information, you may visit their Facebook page, that is SCELEC, St. Kitts Electricity Company Limited, or go to their website at www.skelec.kn. That is the latest on the offices that will be closed tomorrow. Again, you are encouraged to stay tuned to local media to get the latest updates on the tropical storm so that we are prepared. We know exactly what we should do, ensure that we have everything in place. If we know that we need medication for the elderly members of our household, we need to go and get those items now. If we know we need food because we are low on certain items, we need to go and get those now. If we know we need water, we need to go and secure those things now. Well, as a matter of fact, they should have been secured before, but the reality is people like to helter-skelter at the last minute. Officials from the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, are expected to join me very shortly to provide an update on the impending weather threat, and so I'm standing by for them to join me to provide the latest update on Tropical Cyclone Ernesto. And so I'm encouraging you to stay tuned, and if you have any questions, you may call at 465-2555 or 718-577-2916. But they are expected to join me very shortly to provide an update on the weather system, as to the status of the weather system right now, and the preparation in terms of what preparation should look like for us here in St. Kitts and Nevis. The other stakeholders like the Royal St. Christopher Nevis Police Force, the Defence Force, other emergency personnel, they too have also been going over their disaster readiness and prepared plans to ensure that they are prepared for the weather system. But I hope that with this impending weather system, that we use it as an opportunity to get very serious with our planning. This is the hurricane season, and it is expected to be very active. We saw what Hurricane Beryl did to the countries like St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Petite Martinique, Grenada. We saw what Hurricane Beryl did, and it appears as if those people did not take it very seriously. They were very complacent, and so we need to take warning and be very serious. We have some officials joining us now to provide an update on the current status of the storm. We have Mr. Elmo Burke and Mr. Abdias Samuel. They will be providing the latest update on the impending weather threat. I'll just give them 2 minutes to get themselves settled, and then we're going to come back and allow them to take it from there in terms of where we are, preparation, and all of these things. I think we can take a very short break, and when we come back, we'll continue.
Building our nation is a team effort, and just like any good team, we must be able to respect and support each other, no matter our differences. More inclusive and accepting workplaces enable all individuals to actively contribute their skills and talents to the economy's growth and prosperity.
I'm happy to be inclusive and make the best use of all the talents that St. Kitts and Nevis has to offer. Our communities will be better when everyone can make their contributions without discrimination.
The LGBTQ plus community is doing its part to build a stronger, more resilient St. Kitts and Nevis.
Let us respect our LGBTQ plus community and their talents. More inclusive workplaces create a stronger Caribbean. This message is brought to you by the Eastern Caribbean Alliance for Diversity and Equality, ECAID.
But Jeff, you leaving already, boss? You sure you could drive after them drinks?
Yeah, I could handle it, And it's too far from here. I'm gonna take my time.
Oh my God!
Jeff, you're gone. I told you not to drink and drive.
The problem with drinking and driving is the morning after. Drink responsibly.
This message was brought to you by the St. Kitts Nevis National Council on Drug Abuse Prevention in collaboration with SKNIS.
Welcome back to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I'm Devonne Cornelius, and thank you for joining me on the program for today. Joining me now is the National Disaster Coordinator, Abdias Samuel, and Senior Met Officer Elmo Burke to provide an update on the latest information with regards to the tropical cyclone Ernesto. Okay. And they're going to provide an update on the current status of the storm, as well as meetings held with stakeholders as to where we are in terms of preparation. There was a meeting held on Sunday, and that meeting included the Prime Minister and other officials, and the meeting was held this morning, I believe, that was chaired by the Acting Prime Minister, Dr. Jeffrey Hanley. Well, let's hear from Mr. Burke first as to where we are now, well, where the storm is located now, and how soon it is expected to impact St. Kitts and Nevis.
Okay. Thanks for having me, Devon. In relation to potential tropical cyclone number 5, it's not developed into a cyclone as yet, so it's not Ernesto. However,
thank you for that correction.
However, as of 8 o'clock this morning, it was located about 588 miles to the southeast of St. Kitts and Nevis, and it's moving rather briskly. It was moving in a westerly direction at about 26 miles per hour. And we anticipate a decrease in forward motion as it continues to move towards the island chain. Based on what we are seeing, we anticipate it to develop into a depression sometime today, and then by tomorrow at tropical storm Ernesto. Because of what we are seeing and the timing, we would have issued a tropical storm warning for St. Kitts and Nevis as of 8 o'clock this morning. And when we say a tropical storm warning, that means tropical storm conditions are likely to affect us within the next 36 hours. In this case, we are looking at possibly between tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow night.
Okay.
Based on the current trajectory that we are looking at for the system, potential tropical cyclone number 5, which would eventually become Ernesto, it's expected to pass generally to our south and then move in a west-northwesterly direction towards the Virgin Islands before exiting our area. When it's on that path, when it's south of us and moving away from us, we're going to be getting almost like the tail end of it, and that is when we are likely to see the tropical storm force winds. So that's why we're looking at it. Rather than tomorrow morning, we're looking at tropical storm force winds possibly tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow night. However, we do recognize that it's not only the wind that we have to be mindful of.
Correct.
It's the other parameters, and in this case, the potential tropical cyclone, as it moves into the area, is going to increase cloudiness as well as shower activity associated with the system. Some of the showers are going to be moderate to very heavy at times and accompanied with scattered thunderstorm. And when we talk about thunderstorms, we're talking about thunder, a mixture of thunder and lightning.
Okay.
So it's important that residents take heed. Based on the estimates that we are looking at for now, the accumulation in terms of rainfall from this event is about 4 to 6 inches of rainfall. 4 to 6 inches of rainfall on a relatively saturated soil. We do recognize over the past day or so certain areas in St. Kitts would have been receiving quite a bit of rainfall. So the soils are relatively saturated. So the potential for land slippage would exist, the potential for flash flooding, as well as the potential for rock falls, especially in the southeast peninsula, because we do recognize that is one of the main hazardous area when it comes to rock falls, even from just relatively light rains. So you can imagine if you now get heavy downpours, then you could see the potential for some rock falling in the southeast peninsula area.
So people should be very mindful.
So persons should be mindful of that. So as I said, we have issued the tropical storm warning. We're going to be issuing some other advisories, for example, flash flood advisories as they progress, as well as advisories for mariners. We do recognize that seas are expected to deteriorate starting from this evening and prolonging through at least into Wednesday, because we recognize it's going to pass generally to our south, and with it passing to the south of us, it's going to push a lot of water on the Caribbean seaside. And for us, for the general public, when we're talking about the Caribbean seaside, we're talking about the corridor from Bastille along down to Sunny Point going up to Dieppe Bay. So the western side of the island is what is going to be mostly impacted from a lot of the seas. The seas are likely to peak up to about 10 feet during the passage of the system. And I want to put a plug here, Devon, that weather is dynamic in nature. The timing can change. The intensity of the parameters can change. So for now, based on the information that we have, this is what we are likely to experience. However, you may get some heavier showers earlier or later, and even when it comes to the winds may not reach up to storm force, but it's likely to be quite gusty, especially in some of those showers once we start to experience those tomorrow.
Regarding the ferry operators, how soon would they be impacted in terms of, I don't know, having to cease operations or whatever, pause operations? Can you say?
I'm not too certain, but I know through NEMA as well as through SCASPA, this information would usually be communicated to the general public so that persons who have to move between the islands could make the necessary preparation to get where they want to in advance of the cessation of movements of the vessels at the time.
All right, thank you so much. National Disaster Coordinator Abias Samuel is also here with us, and he'll be providing an update on two meetings held, one on Sunday and one earlier this morning, with regards to preparation, where we are with preparation, and the state of readiness for stakeholders as well. Tell us about the meeting held yesterday into today.
Thank you, and good morning to you, Devon, and your listeners, when we're using whatever platform necessary to be in tune. So yesterday there was a meeting convened by the Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Terence Chu. This meeting was a virtual meeting via Zoom, in which the Acting Prime Minister, Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, the Permanent Secretary for National Security, Mr. Glenmar Blanchard, the chair of the NEMA Board of Directors, Mistress Clarissa Langley-Stevens, and myself would have participated in that meeting, and we were able to give the Prime Minister an update as per the state of readiness in the country to respond to any particular threats or risks associated with any incoming or impending tropical weather system. In this meeting, we discussed matters of the activation of the National Emergency Operations Center. We also discussed the likelihoods of the impact, bearing in mind, as Elmo indicated, that the storm is due to either pass over St. Kitts yesterday, that was the forecast, or now on the track that it has, that it will pass south. And what are the implications for the storm passing south of St. Kitts and Nevis? We spoke on other critical infrastructural matters, and also the Prime Minister was very much concerned with reference to the citizen, what we have in place in terms of shelters and other reports for the citizens and residents of the Federation. So we were able to provide the Prime Minister with a brief report, an executive summary of what we are doing in terms of preparation. As a result of that, we then moved into a pre-strike meeting. We informed him that there will be a pre-strike meeting this morning at 9 a.m. That pre-strike meeting was a national stakeholders meeting of our all-of-society approach, in which the public sector, private sector, civil society, and all partners, regional and international partners, inclusive of the disaster office on Nevis, they were able to participate, and everybody would have shared their plan of action to respond to the potential threat of this tropical weather system that we expect potentially to become Tropical Storm Ernesto by the time it reaches our vicinity. As Elmo said, let me make it abundantly clear. The weather is dynamic. So if it goes away from us, thanks be to God. If it comes, thanks be to God, we are ready. Okay, so let me just outline while you were talking to Elmo, I outlined about 20 points here that to report to the nation, and I hope I have the time to do so, Devon, and I'll give you
Go ahead.
All right, excellent. So the National Emergency Operations Center, and the advice of the National Disaster Coordinator and other technical persons, the acting Prime Minister has agreed to activate it as of 8 a.m. tomorrow, Tuesday, 13th August 2024. So the NEOC will be activated as of 8 a.m. The government, again, on the advice of the senior Met officer and myself, in consultation with other stakeholders, we would have agreed to advise on the closure of the public sector, tomorrow, 13th August 2024. This is to ensure that we have as minimal persons as possible on the streets, as the conditions will begin to deteriorate throughout the day, and we want to avoid persons having to be challenged with transportation issues of the interaction of our waterways, and also persons just traversing in rainfall and thunderstorm and lightning. We saw what happened in St. Martin the other day, where persons were struck by lightning, and we don't want that for our citizens and residents. So out of the abundance of caution, the government agreed that that is a precautionary and applicable and practical applicationable measure. Equally so, as part of the meeting, we also agreed on the opening of one shelter throughout each district, and our districts are in alignment with the constituency boundaries. So in each district there will be one shelter open, and our communications team is working to prepare that listing so that the general public could have that. Devon, is important for the public to understand that the shelter will be available. If you don't feel comfortable that your household can withstand the system that is passing, please go to a shelter. And we don't want to create no alarm, but as Elmo indicated, the system can intensify, or the system can just come as is. We don't see the major threat as it is right now, permit me to say, that we may need shelter, but again, as a precautionary measure, we will provide that service to the general public, and we will have that information for the public in very short order. It's important for the public to know that Solid Waste Management Corporation, as a garbage collection corporation and institution, they will not be, again let me repeat, they will not be collecting any garbage tomorrow. They will not be collecting garbage tomorrow. So they have advised, and we too advocate on their behalf, that which everybody should please secure your garbage bins. Tie them into something, fasten them into something, or put them in somewhere safe, that you don't lose them, they don't become flying projectile, or that they dispose more debris in the form of garbage on our environment. Skelec, water, the telecommunications providers, City Wi-Fi, the cable, Digicel Flow, would have also provided significant updates, and they reported on the state of readiness in the event that we have to be affected or impacted by these particular weather systems. Our district volunteer mechanisms, that's District 1 to 8. They too were present and reported on the state of readiness to support the national response effort in preparations for the potential passage of this weather system. Also, it's important that everyone who's listening from the government side, the Cabinet Secretary has, and the advice of the agency, ensured via a written communique to all permanent secretaries and heads of department that all government vehicles should be at the polling area by 5 p.m. today, Monday. 5 p.m. today, Monday, 12th August 2024. So we are expecting the cooperation of all permanent secretaries, heads of department, and the entire public service. In terms of the ports of entry, it's important that we speak to the ports of entry. So the CASPA would have provided a report on the matter, and the airport manager would have indicated that if the AA flight, the American airline flight, which a lot of people have been calling me and asking me about that, if the American airline flight is granted the approval by their people, their Met offices, they have their own weather experts, then we will facilitate, and I endorse that. Once they are comfortable that they can land, once we are also comfortable that they can come in, land, and take the passengers that they need to take and depart, then that is going to be facilitated. So to all the listening audience and the listening public and everyone who can hear me, please know that the airlift into St. Kitts and Nevis will be cancelled based on that information that is being received. So it's going to be on a case-by-case basis based on what the weather permits. Correct, Elmo? Right. So it's important. We have also received report from the Permanent Secretary of Tourism, Mr. Vanna Wharton, and the tourism authorities are working assiduously to ensure that we get a proper understanding as per the numbers of tourists that are occupying the hotel spaces. That is critical for us because that now will position us to know how to address that particular demographic group. We want to advise the general public, in particular, those who are going to have outdoor activities planned for tomorrow, to please adhere to the advice of the Met Office and NEMA. And we are asking you to postpone, not to cancel, but rather postpone your external activities tomorrow, as we are desirous of having less and less persons outside. Now, please, we don't need to do any panic shopping. Let me advise, we don't need to do any panic shopping. I know I can say it and it's going to happen. It's a tradition. But what we are saying is this, respectfully to all listeners, is that the system is going to come in. It's traveling very fast. It's going to come in, give us some rain, give us some wind, and then it's going to move out quickly. So therefore, we have been giving you the message to prepare, be prepared, stay prepared. So you don't need that level of panic shopping. If you don't have one or two little things, we understand that you go and get them, but it's not like you're going to be shut down for 2, 3, 7 days. It's a passing weather system that may intensify. And if it intensifies, then we would intensify our response to ensure that you are protected and you are safe. I also want to advise on the information that is being shared. So our communication team that is headed by the Director General of the SKNIS, once we activate the NEOC, will be providing timely information to the general public via all platforms, traditional radio, traditional media, social media, and all forms of communication. So please listen to the information being provided by Elmo. We're paying him for him to do a job. Let us make sure that he do his job. So we will make sure that Elmo do his job and provide us with information to guide you and keep you safe. We will be using the NEMA website as well as social media platform, along with our partners such as ZIZ, Freedom FM, Win FM, Sugar City FM, One Radio, Dominion Radio, and many others, to be able to provide you with vital and critical information for you to make decisions. Again, Elmo spoke to hazards, and it's very important that we address that. There is significant rockfall that happens and is happening in the southeast area, in particular Sundance Ridge area, that particular area, but all throughout. But that area in particular, as well as soon as you come out through the tunnel and the Dr. Kennedy Simmons Highway, soon as if you're traveling from, let's say, Frigate Bay to southeast, to the end of southeast, that is more southeast, then again, be rather mindful. Exercise caution while using the road. Avoid parking in the guts. Avoid overtaking people while it's raining. And please use the necessary measures to stay safe on the road. Public transportation. We will advise the public transportation, for example, the buses and the ferry operators, based on the weather. We are going to advise them to also cease operation until the all clear is given from the NEMA and the NEOC to resume such. Again, we are looking for the cooperation of the general public to support the national response efforts and preparedness efforts so that we can keep you safe. I will pause for now because if I go on and on and on, I might not finish. Right? So, thank you so much, Devon.
All right, thank you so much, Abias, on that very extensive update. I took a few notes just to rehash and to remind people. But the purpose is that we are ready for the storm. It is just to ensure that the stakeholders, in terms of the other entities, are ready and have their disaster preparedness plans in place. It is 11:46. We may have some callers who may want to call and ask questions, so we can do that at 465-2555 or 718-577-2916. Regarding the closure of the public sector tomorrow, people were asking about the private sector. Is it up to the individual companies to make that announcement?
Well, as it is right now, the Chamber of Industry and Commerce were a part. They were a part of the meeting with the stakeholders.
Okay.
And they are already communicating to their membership to support the efforts of the government, and we are encouraging them to follow same. We will continue to advise them as for the action that is expected of them. So it's expected that they will replicate same.
Okay.
There's a level of flexibility. What you don't want, the reality, Devon, is what you don't want. We have these heavy torrential downpours, and persons are stuck. And then the reality is, if they are stuck and they can't get home, especially those in the countryside or rural areas, then it means that the government now will have to find some means to get these persons home.
Yes.
And it becomes a particular challenge. Yes. So again, we are appealing to the private sector to cooperate with the government, move some of your operations online just for the day. We are hoping that by Wednesday the place should clear up and we should be able to go back to a sense of normalcy and get ourselves going.
And as you mentioned, that private sector companies should also have a conversation with their staff to see, okay, where do you live? You live in St. Paul's, you live in our road, and look at their conditions and determine whether it makes sense for this person to show up to work tomorrow, because you don't want a case where they're stuck at work or they're stuck in the Basta area. You also made mention of the shelters. You said there will be a shelter in each district. And in terms of contact information for anybody who may not feel comfortable being at home and they want to go there, do you have a designated number or numbers they can call?
Yes, so they can call at NEMA at 466-5100. And when we activate the NEOC, we are going to publish numbers. We're going to call ZIZ and partners to be able to publicize those numbers as well. But they can call NEMA at 466-5100, and then we will share all the other information. In addition to that, they can go on our NEMA website and Facebook page, and they will see the list of the district managers, the person responsible for each district.
Okay.
And each one of those persons' contact information is there available so that persons can contact them. Again, the boundaries are the same as the constituency boundaries.
Okay.
So if you hear District 1, it means constituency 1. So you know where your area is.
Okay.
Excellent.
Regarding the port of entry, you made mention of SCASPA, the update from SCASPA, and I asked earlier regarding the board. I'm a user of
I know. I figure
I have to keep,
of course.
I gotta keep asking about that.
Definitely.
And of course, for the benefit of the other listeners, does the notice, is it up to SCASPA or the individual operators? What happens there?
Okay,
It's usually be a collaborative effort.
Okay.
Where they would normally have a discussion and the information would be communicated through them, as in terms of the individual ferry owners, also through SCASPA, through tourism, through NEMA. So we'll use multiple options to communicate the information when the services are likely to be suspended.
Okay. The update from the PS of Tourism you mentioned, Abdias, regarding the number of tourists on the island. Have you guys been in discussion with the hotels and vacation inns or whatever to find out what their disaster plans are?
Yes.
If they're ready?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I have been receiving updates from the St. Kitts Marriott Hotel. I have also been receiving from other service providers in that particular field in terms of what they're doing and what their expectation is, because some of the international brands, their cooperation actually have plans, and as they monitor the weather just like we are, they actually ask them to activate their plans from wherever the base is in the United States or whatever in the globe. So some of them have already activated that, even though we are still in that preparedness process, they're already activated, because it requires them to sometimes move their guests back to either to a safer area within the hotel or to help with the repatriation process. Because what some guests will do is that they will leave earlier, and you know how the process is. If you're leaving early from a hotel, it means that you still have to pay, and then so you understand the complexities of that type of mobilization. So some of them are going through that process as we speak right now, and we are hopeful that by the end of today we could have some information from the Ministry of Tourism as to what is happening deeper with some of these service providers.
Okay, you also made mention of SCALEC water and telecommunication providers. I'm not sure if you could speak specifically to SCALEC in terms of power outages, but sometimes power outages are necessary to safeguard their generators and all of that.
Yes.
Do you have an idea of when they are going to take off the current?
So based on the reports received by SCALEC, it's going to be based on the weather. And of course we know that they are doing some load shedding in order, as you said, to be self-sustainable and be able to provide us with power. So I am appealing to the public to have patience with them. They are not doing it to inconvenience you. They are doing it to protect us and to ensure that we could permit that capacity to cool fast enough. Guess what happened? Then you have overheating, damaging. So I am appealing to the public to help themselves become more self-sustainable. Have patience with SCALEC as they do their best.
What are the basic items people should have for this impending weather threat? Just a few basic items that's a must-have for this storm coming up.
Non-perishable items, medication, water, and money. Those are my recommendations. Elmo, you want to add anything?
Yeah, those are the four that I'm thinking about as well.
Right.
Water, non-perishable, money, and medication. All right. It is 11:55 and you're listening to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. We're going to bring the program to a close. Thank you guys so much for joining me today to provide this very detailed update. I don't think I would have been able to do such an update, and I can tell that the people are grateful. At ZIZ, we'll do our part as long as we receive the information to share it with the general public so that people are aware of the status of the storm. I believe there's another update coming up soon regarding the storm, so we'll seek to share that as well and any other information from NEMA. Thank you guys so much for coming.
Well, thank you for having us, Devon. Thank you.
You're welcome.
For facilitating us.
You've been listening to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. Until next time, stay safe. I may not see you tomorrow, but hopefully on Wednesday. Don't drink and drive, don't text and drive. Have a good one. Goodbye.